Hello everyone, we are Group 77. My name is Haoyue Wang. Our group members are Qian Chen, Yingting Xia, Chulin Xie, Rongyang, and me. This is our contents. For this presentation, the company chosen by our group is Royal Dutch Shell and its CEO Ben van Beurden. Firstly, I will introduce the company. Shell is an international energy and chemicals group. It was formed by the merger of Royal Dutch Petroleum and Shell of the United Kingdom, with its headquarters in The Hague, Netherlands. Royal Dutch Petroleum was formed in 1890 in order to compete with the largest oil companies of the time. Royal Dutch Petroleum merged with the British Shell Transport and Trading Company in 1907. Shell has purchased oil options in more than 100 countries and regions around the world. Shell's upstream business is focused on supplying new sources of oil and gas energy, developing large projects, bringing value to resources owners with technology and experience. In 2021, Shell had a turnover of $183.95 billion and employed around 87,000 people. In the same year, Shell was ranked 19th in the Fortune Global 500. Ben van Beurden is the key leader of Shell. Ben was born in 1958 in the Netherlands. He joined Shell in 1983 and became CEO in 2014. An ethical dilemma is a decision problem when faced with two choices, both of which have moral reasons worth choosing. Because of climate change, Shell has to reduce its carbon emissions. Shell takes the production of human rights very seriously when it comes to its employees, because of the dangers of carbon produced. Shell insures its employees accordingly. In May last year, the Dutch District Court in The Hague ruled that Shell was partly responsible for climate change and ordered the company to reduce its carbon emissions. Third point proposed that Shell be split into two companies, one for low carbon business such as renewable energy and the other for upstream, refining, and chemicals. But Shell formally rejected the proposed split at the same time as its third quarter results were announced. From a long-term perspective of the company's development, a split would not only be complex, but the outcome would be highly uncountable. Although not splitting would have resulted in lower earnings, changes in short-term earnings do not prove that Shell's strategy was inappropriate. Okay, this is my part. Next is Qian Chen.
Okay, thanks for Haoyue's introduction. The following part of my presentation is mainly about leadership and its two different styles. Now, let's take a look at leadership. Leadership is a personal trait and a process of social influence that maximizes the efforts of others to achieve goals. Management refers to planning, organizing, staffing, and controlling of functions or processes to best accomplish tasks. Management and leaderships are very different. For example, leaders set the directions of the business and create the visions, goals, and structures, but managers are responsible for implementing specific actions. The table clearly shows the difference between the two. Next, let's look at different leadership styles. Transactional leaders usually set goals and build a policy system that rewards and punishes one side by side. Under this style of leadership, the productivity of employers can be maximized. Then, transactional leadership clearly creates a fair working environment for employers. But transactional leadership enhances employers' creativity. It is difficult for staff with critical thinking to quit, which also makes the organization unable to respond well to change. However, transformational leadership inspires employers to innovate and create change, thereby helping to grow and shape the company's future success. Employers under transformational leaderships have a high level of loyalty, and there is a strong trust between and dependence between team members and the leaders. But transformational leadership depends heavily on the team's intrinsic drive to realize the visions. If the team disagrees with the visions, influence is lost. Also, transformational leadership is not democratic. Next, let's look at Ban's leadership style. Ban is a combination of transformational and transactional leaderships. On the one hand, Ban believes that challenging work is exciting. He constantly motivates and supports the employers to create new ways to solve organization problems. For example, in the time of the COVID-19, Ban led the staff to implement an innovative strategy plan. This has enabled Shell to succeed in the energy transitions. Besides, Ban has the courage to change the situations and instill a culture of innovations and efficiencies. And on the other hand, Ban has expectations for company's performance and its staff. However, it will cause intangible stress on employers and damages their mental health. In addition, Ban believes that employers should be in constant communications. Nevertheless, when employers feel excluded due to communications interruptions or other reasons, it can demotivate employers, reduce efficiencies and motivations. Therefore, Ban is advised to pay more attention to personal situation of employers. Okay, that's all for my presentations. Next, Yingting is here to introduce another leadership style. Thank you.
Thank you, Qianchen. I'm Yingting Xia, and now let me start by talking about true leadership. In true leadership theory, people are neither born or have certain qualities that make them good at leadership roles. At the same time, true leadership also has its limitation because it ignores situational factors, causes, and effects. Ben Van Beurden is a resource-oriented leader and a future predictive leader. Ben has had led the research of the energy that a single person requires estimated to be 300 gigajoules, and the world energy system will not be able to sustain such in the future. So through Ben has suggested the use of a carbon capture strategy to counter the demand. Ben was also analyzed as a leader who successfully exercised authority and democracy. Ben is inclusive and accepts the contributions of employees and has created an accommodative working environment. Employees are insured against risks, including paid vacation leaves and retirement benefit schemes. Sick pay policies also exist because carbon emissions pose multiple threats to people's health. And Ben acknowledged in an interview that carbon energy was not one of the reasons he joined the Shell. Ben was interested in the luxurious trips of Shell's branches to different companies. Recruitment was his main interest. This reason shows that Ben has no heart of Shell's company progress at large, and that shows weakness. In addition, Ben still hoped to end up in academic field jobs. Ben also had high expectations on business breakthrough through theoretical framework which are hard to implement in reality. He was unable to communicate effectively with employees earlier on because of his high expectation. And Ben is conscious of employees' needs at the workplace. Carbon products harm the breathing systems, and the employees are given protective work gear. Employees deliver better results when a company values their input and working environment. In addition, bank has incorporated insurance policies for all employees and health check programs for employees. Employees were given bonus for the best performance, which were abolished after the COVID-19 pandemic. Bank is still working on restoring the bonus now that the economy is recovering. These are all linked to option one, corporate profits. In addition, bank is on the front line of ensuring that employees advance the working skill daily. Training programs, workshops, and benchmarking programs are encouraged by bank to equip the skill adequately. The increasing need for carbon reforms can be solved by employing a skilled workforce, and the bank has been hiring new employees and advancing skills for the existing ones. Ban is also a transformational leader who accepts employees' suggestions regarding sales programs. This whole executive system of Dutch sales company thus supports different ideologies in decision making. These leadership actions lead bank to adopt a healthy safety and environmental programs. And then Chulin will talk about next part.
Alright, thanks to Yingting. So in this session, I will discuss the ethical dilemmas brought about by the Shell. When faced with an ethical dilemma, Shell has to choose between profits and principle, as we can see from the table. When companies stick to option one, which focus on profits, Shell will see positive growth in market sales and share and customer loyalty. In contrast, option two helps safety and environment, helps to reduce the risk of self-business and protects the health and safety of Shell employees, and furthering its social responsibility and corporate image. And nowadays, the environmental, social, and corporate governance issues are becoming an increasingly significant part of the oil industry's larger transition. And this fact means that the Shell needs to pay more attention to the requirements of its stakeholders. For this reason, we have chosen option to detail the positive impacts that Shell is experiencing in this area. From the safety side, we can see that Shell is using VR for safety emergency response training. For Shell, it is vital to ensure that all safety procedures are following correctly, especially in emergency situations. And then we can look at the environment. The environment is of great importance to Shell. Faced with an energy transition, Shell has therefore established a new energy system. For example, Shell starting with fuel sustainability. Shell is building an 820,000 ton per year oil field facility at the Shell Energy and Chemical Parks in Rotterdam and the Netherlands. These low carbon fuels will help growing demand in the transport sector. And secondly, in terms of develop clean energy, Shell is incorporating solar energy to its portfolio, and the following is a selection of solar projects in operation and under development at Shell. And in urban living, to build more sustainable cities and adjust resource pressures, Shell offers cleaner ways of powering homes, and Shell Urban Solutions works with the Resilient Cities Network to support cities in managing resilient energy and transport transition. And on the employee health side, Shell conducts health screening for workers at a number of major facilities in the US. Some staff are vulnerable to attack during the COVID-19 outbreak, and health can prevent this happen. And move to the negative impacts on the ethical dilemma. The 2020 oil crisis brought about by reduced demand for transport fuel following the coronavirus pandemic is laid a significant impact on Shell's operation. In its 2020 financial year, Shell's revenues fell by almost half. Furthermore, Shell's oil and gas reserves steadily declined over the last 5 years. It's really worse. And as part of a major overhaul of the company to keep pace with the global transition to clean energy, Shell plans to reduce costs by cutting 9,000 jobs and up to 10% of its workforce in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic in preparation for more investment in low-carbon energy future. The next step is to improve on the negative effects through some measures. First, we can develop a strategic oil research plan, and then further development of alternative petroleum products leading to a loss of profits from reduced fuel transport, and then reducing labor costs through technological innovation and increasing the intelligence of equipment. For example, Shell has retrained artificially intelligent workers as part of a huge energy transition. Alright, that's the end of my part. Let's move to Yang Rong. Thank you.
Wow, thanks for tuning in. Hello, my name is Yang Yang. I would like to make a conclusion and recommendations of our year's research about royal duty self here. As the world's 19th largest company CEO, Ben Van Beurden's leadership is transformational, and his leadership styles effectively combines democracy and authority, which means that he leads from the throne consolidates his authoritative approach, while his democratic skills lie in how he participates in the company's activities. It makes a positive impact on increasing employees' patience by encouraging them to brainstorm. And, however, in the face of a leader who lacks trust in employees, will be badly affect the relationships between employees and leader. And faced with the ethical dilemma of whether to choose corporate profit or healthy and safety and environment as a result of climate change, he insisted on transformational leadership style and a creative and determined style in order to achieve better results for the company. He approached the ethical dilemma in three ways. Firstly, he reduced emissions by investing in more safe and environmentally friendly equipment. Then he focuses more on recruiting staff with certain reverse and increasing staff training to cope with new equipment. Thirdly, by encouraging employees to speak up and brainstorm, he insisted on thinking deeply and finding better ways to carry out our tasks. In the next section, recommendations are given on remedial measures to address the current situation and on improving the capacity of the leaders. First of all, it is suggested to replace generators with renewable energy sources to reduce emissions and break even on investment. Then it is advisable to look closely at asking portfolio selection to anticipate and reduce future investments. Last but not least, the company is advised to place more emphasis on training employees, especially on new equipment proficiency, which is useful to improve employees' efficiency and performance. In addition, a high level of self-awareness is important for managers to improve their leadership and management skills. And leaders are also advised to seek deeper connections with their colleagues by engaging in small talk before meeting and learning more about their lives outside the workplace. Finally, it is recommended that leaders provide informal conversational feedback and develop action plans for employees to monitor their progress towards achieving organization goals. This above is all the content of our years, and thank you for your listening.